Ladies, gentlemen, pill-poppin' pronoun people, Joe Biden has dropped out of the race. Quick, somebody tell him.
My fellow Americans, I want to take a moment to address some of the hateful shit you've been talking about me. Many of you have said I am suffering from brain worms, or that I have applesauce for brains. Well, I won't mince words, so here it is. Fuck you. You're all a bunch of faggots. End of quote. Repeat the line. So enjoy President Cackles or President Booty Juice? I really don't give two fucks anymore. Biden out.
Before I begin obloviating, a moment of silence, if you will, for the poor, put-upon prick who's been printing Biden ballots for the past 3 months. Our thoughts and pinko prayers are with you, Xi Jinping. Hopefully you insisted on being paid up front. You ever make a prediction so far ahead of the curve you actually lap the earth and end up being behind it? That's a rough approximation of how I feel at present, wondering if I should have waited 3 additional days to drop my last video entitled, "Is it finally Jover?" One RNC convention later, the most memorable keynote speaker of such was none other than the Hulkster. It's clear the momentum is firmly entrenched on T-Money's side.
But what happened last week when they took a shot at my hero and they tried to kill the next president of the United States? Enough was enough, and I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
Only for Samoa Joe Biden to drop out before their WrestleMania showdown. And so, in keeping with the WWE theme, it appears it'll be the Ugandan giant Kamala who will cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase and ascend to the office of presidential puppet. So how did we get from riding with Biden to abandon Brandon? Simple. This was their only recourse. Well, their second to only recourse. Their first and preferred recourse came in projectile form, namely Trump's new .556 caliber ear piercing. Anyone else find it odd Biden delayed until after the unsuccessful assassination attempt to finally hit the bricks? What's it been, a month since Biden bit the big one on national TV during that debate? Why the delay, Uncle Bad Touch? What were you waiting for, I wonder? Why'd it take 20 plus days and out of nowhere bullseye remark followed immediately after by an errant assassin's bullet to finally get you to shamble off to the convalescent home when we could see this archlich's phylactery was a kraken all the way back in 2015? In the immortal words of Star Trek DS9's Garrick,
I believe in coincidences. Coincidences happen every day. But I don't trust coincidences.
really gets the old walnuts a-whirling, don't it, RazörForce? Ironically, the least surprising element of all this backroom butt stuff is the one most people appear to be having the most difficulty biting the pillow and taking, namely the DNC's choice of replacement puppet, old wine cooler Kamala. But to anyone at all who joins the RazörForce either on the offensive or every Friday in the arcade, this is about as unexpected as a Clinton witness with a limestone hat. The DNC's single solitary play, as I've explained in detail for several months, is to run Kamala, a woman, minority, and sole inheritor of any of the campaign pesos previously accrued by the Chester-in-Chief, with the most ideal attack vector being me woman, me save abortion. And the only operative issue with that approach is that it's 2 years too late. Roe v. Wade's been dead so long, if it were a child, Biden wouldn't even bother showering with it. And public opinion absolutely reflects this fact. I have it on good authority from candidates currently running in the race that most internal polls show barely 18% of the electorate passionately support killing kids on a national level. Worse still, Trump took that arrow out of his opponent's quivers by remediating the issue to the states. In short, the only person in the race who actually wants the federal government to tell women what they can or can't do with their bodies is Kamala Harris. If that seems like a sound strategy on a national level, with Trump polling as much as, 7 points ahead in the most competitive swing states, and some of those states, such as Ohio, defanging the issue entirely by already passing their own abortion provisions previously, well, by all means, Napoleon, carry on to Waterloo. Kamala was made for this moment. She's a dismal strategist, abysmal executive, terrible talker, and an even worse presidential candidate, which is why her primary poll numbers were playing hopscotch with cockroaches before she dropped out. But she is a brilliant wheeler and dealer. It's about the only thing she's good at that doesn't involve lubriderm and knee pads. And as such, you have to doff hat to the hag. She maneuvered herself into the catbird seat brilliantly. Look, you don't wind up the least popular presidential candidate in the primary field, yet somehow positioned as the sole inheritor of Biden's campaign cash by any kind of accident. This box wine suffused cackling slag played her cards like Yu-Gi-Oh! And no mistake. And the Dems can do nothing about it but grab the headboard and think of the old country. If there's any consolation in the rapacious corruptions of our entrenched political class, it's that our enemies, while venal, ruthless, and obdurate in equal measure, are also sky-splittingly stupid. They could have done this move all the way back when they were still pretending to have a primary and enjoyed the advantage of many more months to obfuscate the narrative around their reprobate party and authoritarian agenda, all while fundraising off the media's invented image of the dictatorial demoniac positioned on the aisle opposite. Instead, the first harpy, fake doctorate in hand, held fast to power like Chris Christie to a bear claw. They fortified 2 primaries, 2 midterms, and at least 1 general election, endlessly kicking the can of electoral discontent with their failed statist agenda down the road and on, spinning the same song on the jag-off jukebox until now, faced with a blind alley and a brick wall, when there's nowhere left to kick and a candidate who's about to kick it, and they can't even credibly claim to have not seen it coming. The more circumspect among the DNC elites, James Carville springs to mind, and been sounding the alarm since 2016, never mind when Joe was polling at single digits in the 2020 midterms.
And let me tell you another thing. The donor class is shutting down. I know these people. All right. And they're not, and not only are they shutting down contributions to the Biden campaign, they're shutting down contributions to the Senate committee, to the House committee. This is story that's been reported on. It's way underappreciated.
This eventuality and the reality of Biden's condition has been apparent for a piping hot minute. As I said on social media all the way back in March, when Biden's cognitive collapse, whatever the source may be, is finally made public to all of us, long after this Girl Scout sniffing statist is put out to pasture, know this: there will be no concession of this repeatedly asserted fact. The media will offer no conciliatory admission of the grand deception they engineered in unison. Slow-Mo Joe will instead be portrayed as a brave old man who defied his doctor's orders to save the nation at a crucial hour. In fact, I'd argue if you pay close enough attention to media coverage in the present, you can already see them laying the groundwork for it. Case in point, Van Jones earlier today.
That's what America's supposed to be about. I love Joe Biden. You have people on both sides of the fight in the party who are crying right now, who can't believe it right now. This is not a normal time, y'all. This isn't just politics. This is a moment in time to honor someone who for 50 years put this country first and sacrificed and sacrificed and sacrificed and sacrificed and sacrificed. And today, he's sacrificed again. That's Joe Biden. I love Joe Biden. This country should get around Joe Biden and help our president through these last few months.
Stop it! What are you, a nut of some kind? Don't do that.
Oh, you sweet, sensitive, shorn-skulled soul who knowingly overlooked the obvious cognitive decline of this moldering mummy, all for the advancement of your own political agenda, you. Let me get you a Clorox Kleenex, Captain Commie. Look, I'm not the clairvoyant people. Ray Charles could have seen this coming before he died. Anyone at all who's watched Beijing Joe speak over the last 8 years could have scripted this drama and optioned the film rights. I mean, folks, they've been trying to get Biden to drop out for months. The trouble was getting him into the helicopter. I'm Razor Fist. Buckle up and Godspeed.
There's 10p in my pocket. I'm gonna chop it in this slot and stop saying, so what's it gonna be? Should rock playing out to me. Sing song plays on and on. So what's it gonna
The fact is that you and I are sitting here today because this will be your last week of employment. This is not an assessment of your productivity. You gotta try not to take this personally.
Well, I just had a bad night.